Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from South Africa's politics, where the ruling African National Congress has reportedly expelled former President Jacob Zuma. Citing a leaked document, South African media reported that the disciplinary committee of the ANC has decided to oust Jacob Zuma for leading a rival group into elections in May. As per the documents, 5 out of 7 members of the panel voted in favor of Zuma's expulsion. Earlier this month, the Grand Old Party launched disciplinary proceedings against the former president. Now Zuma has the right to appeal to the National Disciplinary Committee of Appeal within 21 days. In January this year, the scandal-tainted leader was suspended by the ANC, a month after he threw his weight behind the newly formed MK Party. In the May 29 election, the MK Party cut into the ANC's vote share, taking third place with 14.5% votes. Jacob Zuma now leads the party, which has 58 lawmakers in the 400-seat National Assembly. This year, he has been a key catalyst in South Africa's changing political landscape. The African National Congress secured only 40% of the votes, its weakest vote share since it came to power in 1994, replacing the apartheid government. Jacob Zuma joined the ANC as a teenager in 1959. He spent 10 years in Robben Island prison with Nelson Mandela after being convicted of conspiring to overthrow the apartheid government. Since 1990, Zuma quickly rose through the ANC national leadership and became the national chairperson in 1994. And deputy president of the party in 1997. In 2009, Jacob Zuma was elected the president of South Africa and stayed in power until 2018, when he was forced from office under the cloud of corruption allegations. Zuma was then replaced by long-term rival Cyril Ramaphosa. In 2021, the former president was sentenced to 15 months in jail after he refused to testify to a panel probing financial corruption during his tenure. When Zuma was arrested, South Africa witnessed the worst episode of violence since the fall of apartheid. More than 350 people died in riots. He spent only 2 months in jail and was released over health grounds. In 2022, a report concluded that Zuma played a central role in state corruption during his 9-year rule. However, the 82-year-old leader still carries considerable political clout in South Africa. He even enjoys support within some factions of the ANC. So, what could this outcome mean for South Africa's politics? Will it deepen the divide within the ANC? Could Zuma's party now become a greater challenge for Ramaphosa in the National Assembly? For more on this, we have with us Ayanda Sishiwigzil, a political commentator joining us live from Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you for being with us, Ayanda.
Thank you very much for having me, Alison, and thank you to the First Coast viewers as well.
Great, I can hear you loud and clear now. Ayanda, what impact will Zuma's expulsion from the ANC have on South African politics? We know that Zuma joined the MK Party, and this affected the ANC's electoral performance. As we saw, the ANC suffered its worst result in 30 years, leading to a coalition government.
I think that the expulsion of Jacob Zuma has really had an effect on the election results, especially when he announced that he was going to be backing another political organization in December. We already saw the collateral damage that had done. But I think that in terms of the African National Congress and the future of the party in general, I think that the party is going to carry on. This is not the first time that there've been these kind of factional battles or where leaders have been expelled. Historically, if you think about leaders such as Pixie Kaseme, they have had their rise to becoming the presidents of the ANC at that time is really fraught with a lot of factional battles. We also see that playing out a lot in the history of the African National Congress. So really where the ANC sees itself right now isn't something new. This is something that has really been playing out along history. I think what is interesting, though, is that the African National Congress really took their time in order to deal with the Jacob Zuma problem, because we know that in December, on the actual anniversary of the forming of Mkhonto weSizwe, which is the armed wing of the African National Congress, that is when Jacob Zuma decided to take the opportunity to let the South Africans know that he is no longer going to be campaigning for the African National Congress. And according to the constitution of the African National Congress, under Rule 25, which says that, which speaks to the conduct of ordinary members of the African National Congress, that actually goes against the constitution of the African National Congress. When you cited the history, Alison, of where it is that Jacob Zuma had found himself since joining the African National Congress to where he is now, what you see is a history of the party actually protecting Jacob Zuma even throughout his scandals. When we look at the arms deal, when we look at state capture, when we look at actually before state capture, we can even mention the BBS scandal and the Nkandla homestead in which he built, and then turns out that he had to actually pay that money back to the government. And the African National Congress really did protect Jacob Zuma there. So I think that in the grand landscape of politics in South Africa, I think that we will move forward with or without him. But I think that in the grand scheme of things, we'll be okay with or without Jacob Zuma. But he is here to stay, obviously. But in terms of the African National Congress, they'll be fine without him.
Right. And Jacob Zuma now has 21 days to appeal this decision. He's been a member of the ANC since 1959. What, in your view, will he do now? Will he appeal this? And will this cause more of a divide in the ANC?
I think that, look, if he was a smart man, he would not appeal. He absolutely would not be, because I don't think that outside of appealing that he will have any other recourse to stay a member of the African National Congress. Because when you actually read the constitution of the ANC and look at the misconduct charges that he has actually been charged against and found guilty, let's actually tuck into that. He has been campaigning for another political organization outside of the Tripartite Alliance, and the Tripartite Alliance consists of COSATU and the Communist Party. He has been convicted and imprisoned by the courts of law and was not given an option of a fine, which is also in contravention of Rule 25.17. Also, he has been leading and being a leader of another political organization that is outside the Tripartite Alliance, and he is not allowed to do that when he explicitly said that he's going to be de-campaigning, he's going to be campaigning against the African National Congress. So those rules alone, I do not think that he'll be able to have space in order to legally, within the confines of the constitution of the African National Congress, really appeal that, because he is incredibly guilty of that. I think what Jacob Zuma needs to do now is really concentrate on his new political party that he's formed, because now they are the third biggest party in the country within a short space of time that they have existed, and they are making huge grounds within Parliament. But I definitely believe that his time in the African National Congress is officially now over. As Esma Khashule said during Jacob Zuma's tenure as the president, it's cold outside the African National Congress. And now Jacob Zuma is using the MK party as a blanket to warm himself. And I do wish him the best of luck. But when it comes to his future in the African National Congress, I don't think that he can go any further than appealing with these 21 days. And I don't think that that appeal will be successful. So he definitely will not be dying as a member of the African National Congress.
Yeah. And looking forward, could Zuma's MK party now become a greater challenge for President Cyril Ramaphosa in the National Assembly?
I think that they already are a challenge just in general. If you look at their results and how quickly they entered into the political space, and now they have 58 seats in Parliament, I think that African National Congress needs to pay attention to the fact that the electorate is now turning against them. And I think that even if the MK party did not exist, there's going to be another political party that was going to take up that space. Because if you look at the voter turnout, it's 58.74% of people who actually voted, and those people who voted, they significantly did not vote for the African National Congress. So they made sure that they lost their majority. And so outside of the MK party, I think that Cyril Ramaphosa really has a lot to worry about, because the electoral decline of the African National Congress cannot be solely blamed on the MK party. It would have been blamed on another political party or on somebody else or something else. But the moral of the story is that the decline of the African National Congress is something that has been spoken about for a very, very long time. And now we are seeing the results because of the high cost of living, suffering that people have to contend with, and the fact that they are not really meeting the expectations of the people in the 30 years and the subsequent 30 years of democracy that we have now seen. We have a 45% level of unemployment for youth, and the 32.9% national average of unemployment. I think that this country is in a lot of trouble, and a lot of people are blaming the African National Congress as a result of that. And now we are seeing that in the electoral results. So I think that the MK Party, yes, is definitely is definitely a political organization that the African National Congress needs to contend with. But the African National Congress also needs to contend with the fact that they are just really not meeting the expectations of a lot of South Africans, and they really have a lot of work ahead of them in the 7th administration.
Yeah. And as always, great speaking with you. Thank you for being with us on First Post Africa.
Thank you for having me.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment. So thank you for making First Post 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can we expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to First Post America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.